And we are live over here on Paranormal Nightshift.
What's going on, Andy?
Dude, doing fantastic. Dude, it's been a great week. But,
Go ahead.
First things first, we've got to address a few things.
Okay.
Paranormal Nightshift community, we heard you.
Absolutely.
We heard you. And we are fixing a lot of the issues that a lot of y'all had whenever it came to our reels and that type of thing. We are now uploading the full reel, or actually it's not even a reel, we're uploading the full video onto Facebook and then giving you a teaser as a reel. And all you have to do on that reel is go to the very bottom of it where it says, click here to watch full video. Just click that button, it'll take you to the full video. We're making it super easy to where y'all don't have to look for part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think one of them had 8.
One of them had 8, and that really was it. So what the community has told us is you guys don't want to go looking for part 1 through 7. And what we had been doing is we'd put the whole videos up there so you guys could find them. But after having conversations with you guys and trying to find out a better way to do it, we have now found that we can post the full video. The full video is up there, and then we're going to post a teaser. That way, just people can see it as a reel. It's going to be 60 seconds of the story. Yeah. And it's going to say, click down here, check out everything, go look over here, and you can find the full video. But so many of you guys were saying you wanted the full video and didn't want to have to go looking for it. So we had it with the link. And if you go through and see ones that have 1 through 7 or whatever, you can always find the full video down in the comments. We always link the video, but we want to make sure that you guys are getting what you want. You guys want the full stories. So that's the way we're going to go. And we're bringing it down to like a reel and like one good story a day. Not like not 3 or 4. Now we're still going to have the engagement reels and stuff like that. Like I want to know what your favorite scary movies are. Want to see your Halloween pictures. Want to see all the questions that we're asking, funny, scary facts and stuff like that. The quick stories, the 60-second ghost stories are still going to get done and all of that stuff. So
same thing with the Haunted America series. We're also going to be continuing on with that even after Halloween.
Yes, even after Halloween. And then I've got like the top 10 most haunted houses. Some of them are ones that you wouldn't even like think of. Most people are probably going to think like the Winchester house and the Amityville house, but there's a lot of different ones that you didn't realize that like kind of have definitely been the inspiration for some movies and stuff like that. We're going to do, Andy's going to keep doing haunted cities and things like that. We're going to keep doing more and more stuff here on this page. I think we just kind of got excited that it was Halloween and just started posting like crazy, and it's we're going to sleep it down.
Oh yeah. But with that being said, now that we have all that out of the way, Paranormal Nightshift family, Grace and I, we both hope y'all are having an amazing night or day, wherever you tune it in from. Also, side note, there is somewhere either down in the description or somewhere on the page, if you would like to become a subscriber, whether it's on the podcast platforms or on Facebook, on YouTube, it would be greatly appreciated. And in fact, we have made it in like over on YouTube that has like cool little badges and that kind of thing. And I believe also on Facebook, it has like cool little badges and stuff. But here's the thing, whenever you become a subscriber over on the podcast platforms, you can actually listen to them ad free, 100% ad free over on the podcast platforms. So if you like the stories and you're sick and tired of hearing ads and everything, because y'all, let's face it, when it comes to Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else, they got ads all up in them.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
And especially when it comes to just the stories, like you'll be able to listen to it 100% ad free. And it's actually less than a latte a month. So,
but I'm going to continue on with some of our Haunted America stuff. And I really have got a couple of really cool stories of places that you may have not known existed. And so I've got a couple of these, and I really just think it's fun because there's so many. Every state has its own little ghost story. Some of them are very popular. I mean, most people know about Bigfoot. Most people know about the Jersey Devil. Most people know about, you know, Area 51 and Roswell, New Mexico. But there's so many. I mean, there's 50 states in this great nation. There's so many lesser known ghost stories that don't really have their urban legend to go with them or anything like that, that every state seems to have one. I've come across so many from everywhere. So like the one that I have right now in front of me is Alabama. And
Ooh,
Alabama has something known as Hell's Gate Bridge. So here's the generally accepted story behind Hell's Gate Bridge. The story, story like most of these start in the 1950s. Young couple driving over the bridge, somehow, some way lost control of their car and drove off of the bridge. They both drowned. But there's two legends associated with Hell's Gate Bridge. One is that if you drive to the middle of the bridge and turn off your lights, then the couple will magically appear in your car and they're going to leave a wet spot in the back seat. I know if some ghosts jump in my car, there's a wet spot getting left in the driver's seat. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
But the other is if you go to drive the bridge and then turn your lights completely off, why you would do this, I don't know, but you close your eyes when you get to the middle of the bridge and keep driving, the bridge will turn into a portal that opens up the gates of hell. So why you would try that, I don't know. But to potentially curb ghost hunters and bored teenagers, the bridge is actually closed and it's beyond repair. But that's Alabama's urban legend, one that I hadn't heard about, but really cool. And it's one of these places that you can find in Alabama. Like you can search it and see pictures of it, and it's really cool little ghost stories. Because I think every town definitely has like a lover's lane parking lot area that kids go to. And
Yep.
that is supposed to be Hell's Gate Bridge out in Alabama. Really kind of fun story.
Abso-freaking-lutely. I'll tell you one thing for sure. I mean, I don't know about you, Graeson, but you wouldn't see my butt going on that bridge.
No, absolutely not.
Nah.
No, absolutely not. I'm not going to go drive. And some sorry, she needed a charger and she left it behind me. Yeah, this is what you get with a live show, guys. This is what you get. Wife comes in and goes, I need the thing. And what are you talking about? You're distracting me. The thing in the wall. Yeah, exactly. But
Damon, hey, Damon, if you have a spooky story, we want to hear it.
absolutely, and everything, like I love hearing y'all's stories, and we've been doing these fan stories. I think we're well beyond 100 episodes now.
Yeah, we're approaching our 110th episode.
Yeah,
Like I think Friday drops the 110th episode on the podcast.
which is really cool.
By the way, complete and utter side note, the podcast is always ahead of everything else. So if y'all want to hear the stories before that comes on Facebook or YouTube, the podcast is where you want to tune into. And the podcast is on every single major podcast platform out there. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Jeez, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Radio
Music,
Public. A bunch of them.
iHeartRadio, anywhere that you hear podcasts, you can check out Paranormal Nightshift. Podcast drops daily. You'll get a daily story. And definitely with that too, if you want more horror, see, I said the word right this time. If you want more horrors, then definitely sign up for our email list as well, because Andy's sending you guys out a creepy, scary story every day. You'll get it in your email. Fun fan-based story that goes out to you. Just fun little, just little quick hit stories, and they're really cool.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing, all of the stories are coming from you.
Yeah, exactly.
You, the audience. Like all the stories, whenever y'all go to Paranormal Nightshift and submit your story, I then can turn your story, especially like if we haven't been able to tell it,
Yeah.
then we're able to take your story and then make it into an email story. So
Right.
your story is still getting out there.
Yep. And the podcast is named the same thing that we've been calling it since we've started it. The podcast is Paranormal Nightshift. That's all you got to type in. You'll see our fun little logo. Let me see if I can grab one of our stickers. You'll see our fun little Paranormal Nightshift guy logo. Let me see how we get there. There it is. Sorry, I had to remember which camera was on right now. I got this one and this one going. But yes, the Paranormal Nightshift logo, you'll see it there. You can find us on anywhere you'd listen to podcast, and we're also on all the major platforms. All you got to look for is Paranormal Nightshift. But it's really fun, man. Speaking of being everywhere, we're going to continue our Haunted America tour real quick. This one really kind of got to me. This is a story that I absolutely love out of Arizona, because I've heard this story told so many different ways. I didn't realize that it was a Arizona like based story. I've heard the same kind of ghost story, but this is the ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon. So the ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon is also called the less frightening Luna Canyon, which is actually in Arizona. So during the gold rush in the 1800s, there was a family who lived down in the canyon. They were very poor, like most of the settlers down there. And the father would venture out into the canyon, hunt for food, everything like that. Ma stayed home with the kids. Like all of these horribly tragic ghost stories, one day dad didn't come back. And being the sole provider, the children and the family could not fend for themselves. The children began to slowly starve to death, run out of water, and mom kind of went nuts. So mom goes nuts watching her kids just suffer, and she unalives the children to stop their suffering. But she can't unalive herself. She's tried to throw herself into the canyon. She's tried to do all this other stuff. It doesn't work. She wanders off into the canyon, and nature takes its course. She gets taken by the elements and passes away. But the legend that goes with it is that you can still hear this grieving mother screaming down in Slaughterhouse Canyon. There's also darker legends behind this one, which I really like too. So that's the more PC, very generalized version of this story. The reason it's called Slaughterhouse Canyon is because the story takes a darker turn if you start looking into more of them. The story can go that the father came back after the children were unalived, and he lost his mind and took the mother's life. And then he couldn't do it. He couldn't unalive himself. And people still state, like, to this day, I don't know if you've ever been out to like Arizona and stuff like that, but man, it gets creepy out there at night. People don't understand how cold the desert actually gets at night, and how eerie the desert can be at night, because it's just flat, man. It's flat forever. And it's really kind of cool to see these ghost stories like that, to where everybody's heard the old campfire stories. I like when you find states that go, yeah, this happened here. Like there's proof that this happened here. So I absolutely love all of these fun little state stories. They're creepy, man. They're absolutely nuts. I think
now
go ahead.
something I'm curious about, and this is also something I want a little feedback from all of y'all in the audience. I want to know, do y'all want more? Because like we have to keep things more PG whenever it comes to the social media platforms, the big ones. And here's the thing, whenever it comes to podcast platforms, we can be more blunt and descriptive in that type of thing. We want to know your thoughts on, would you like, especially on the podcast platforms, would you like for us to have the more descriptive episodes that really get into it to where we're not as filtered? Let us know down in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, like absolutely. I'm down with it because on that unfiltered note, you and I had the wonderful opportunity to do a podcast together with our friends over at Real Scares, I think is what it was called.
No, Reality SARS podcast.
Reality Scar. I thought it was like Real
SARS.
Yeah. I thought it was
Yeah.
like Real Scares or Reality Scars podcast. But that was really fun because it was a little bit more uncensored and some of the topics
Yes.
that they were talking about on that thing. And we'll get together and put a link up to that episode when they actually drop it and everything like that. But you can definitely find a more uncensored version of what we talk about. And dude, those guys were really cool. I mean, Ben, the guy, he's a author. He's a well-known author in the paranormal research world, and they had some Bigfoot theories that were just mind-blowing, and talked about some of the conspiracy theories. And that's another thing I want to ask our audience is if you guys are interested in the conspiracy theory stuff as well, not true crime, just some really good conspiracy theories, let us know because these guys have got some really good ones and they've pointed me in the direction of some really cool places where you can find some conspiracies that will just kind of make you think a little bit when you really start looking at them. So I definitely would like to know if you guys are interested in doing more stuff like that. So definitely, send it an email, drop it down in the comments. Like I love doing conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Like, especially because, like I said, on the major platforms, like we have to be very, very, very PG.
Yes.
But on the podcast platforms, that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah. On the podcast platforms, I can say things that I'm not allowed to say.
Yes. But that's because, like, podcast platforms, it's what it is. Like,
exactly.
You can be very descriptive and still keep it clean.
Enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Enough.
Yeah. Like,
But,
we don't have to say, like,
thing.
yeah, like we don't have to say like wordy dirties and that kind of thing. Because that's where the big platforms kind of get us is like whenever we're really, really, really descriptive on certain things. And when we say the wordy dirty, so we can't say that.
Yeah, if we say the wordy dirties, and sometimes it really does take away from the story to have to say the words unalived or have to say the words SA or things like that. It takes away it takes away from the story to say that he unalived his family. Not he totally went into the barn and hacked him up. I have to say no, he unalived his family. It does take away from the story, but there's a lot of them that we have, a lot of these good fan stories too. I'm trying to reach out to all of you guys because I have some fan stories that I don't have an anonymous sender, but I also don't have a name. And I want to make sure that I'm doing y'all justice and go, hey, like totally told your story. This one right here, which is an amazing story, is really cool. But I'm like, before I tell it, I need to let you know that I'm telling it because your name's all in the story. So I want to make sure that it's right. And a lot of them are getting, a lot of them are really good. Some of you guys are absolutely amazing writers and stories are just amazing. But
and for the people that don't know where to go, it is the major, like all the, like for the more, like with us doing more unfiltered, I'm not gonna say unfiltered, but more descriptive episodes. Those will be on all of the major platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, the big ones.
Exactly.
Oh, Amazon Music. I forgot about Amazon Music.
Amazon Music.
Like it's y'all, the Paranormal Nightshift podcast is everywhere. And all you have to do is on the podcast platforms is just look up Paranormal Nightshift. Now we are not the TV series like that happened back in 2020 that the Travel Channel did.
That's a Travel Channel series. And from what I looked at, that the last episode of that is going off the air and will no longer be found because they don't have the rights for it anymore either. So, yeah, like it's not even going to be. You won't find it on Pluto or Hulu or any of the other places that it's on because it's like gone. We didn't realize there was one called Paranormal Night Shift. You know, I'm the night shift champion of the world, and I just added paranormal in front of what I do. That's really what it was. But
and it works, and it's easy to remember.
It's easy to remember, and it's a good intro. Welcome to Paranormal Night Shift, your home for all things that go bump in the dark, and your fan stories told here. Today's story, The Ghost in the Attic, which is actually the story I'm going to leave you guys with because it's a really good, just fun, creepy, like getting close to spooky season story. But so there was this large house in our neighborhood, and it had been empty for years. The house was surrounded by dark, overgrown trees, and the locals had whispers about this being a haunted house. See, a girl who did live there, well, that's it. She did live there. Unfortunately, the house was at the end of the cul-de-sac, and traffic was known to go through the house or go through the neighborhood quite often. The story goes that she was outside playing. There was a truck not paying attention, and, well, she walked in front of the truck. The father and the mother were both just devastated and distraught, and nobody ever saw them again. They didn't come out of the house. Whispers were that the father had just gone crazy, or the mother had just gone crazy with the death of their child. But that's the story that I got told when I was a teenager. A group of us decided that we were going to go and check out the house. We had heard rumors about a ghost, but none of us believed them. And then we thought it would be kind of fun to spend the night in the house and see if anything had happened. We arrived at the house at midnight. We broke in through the window in the back just to explore. The house was dusty. It was filled with cobwebs. The air was stale. But we went through all the rooms and we didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Finally, we came to the attic. Now, the attic had always been the rumor of all the scariness. People would often report seeing a face up in the attic window or seeing the curtains move around. It wasn't anything for us. We just climbed up there. My friend said, "Hey, this is where we're going to spend the night." We put out our sleeping bags and decided to spend the night in the attic. But as soon as we all laid down, that's when we started to hear the noises. There was this soft whispering. It sounded like a child crying. We all kind of just stopped in our tracks and looked at each other. We were scared, but none of us really wanted to turn back. We slowly made our way towards the sound. It was coming from the corner of the attic. When we got close, we could see a small figure. It was like standing in the shadows. I gasped in horror because it was a ghost, a full apparition of the young girl. She was wearing a long white dress and her hair was hanging down in front of her face, and she was softly crying. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared, but the ghost looked at us and moved the hair out from her eyes. She turned and her face just disappeared into shadows. She was mangled and mutilated. It had looked like she had been hit by a car. We all ran out of that house. We didn't stop running until we got home. We never went back to that house again, but we continue to see the girl in the attic. If we walk by the house, we can see the curtains move, and most often we see her face there in the window. That's just a good fan-submitted ghost story. I love them.
Dude, that thing gave me the... Just imagine if you saw that, though.
I know. I love good old-fashioned ghost stories. That's, everybody has seen it. I know with today's economy, I've seen it a lot more than I have ever before, but everybody knows about those houses. Every small town has a house like that with a ghost story behind it. I know that when I was a kid, we definitely went parking and finding places that you could go and explore. I'd been into a couple houses I probably shouldn't have when I was a kid.
You remember those just brand new construction sites?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, his name's Josh and he'll be 15 this year. That's where you park, man. That's where you park. What else are you supposed to do? The times were different back when we were younger, Andy. You didn't have places to go. You still lived with mom and dad. You know,
Mhm.
you go to the brand new construction site and you go park in the garage of one of the houses because there's no garage door yet, and you turn off your lights and you just sit there. And then you go home the next day and you got nails in your tire and your dad's wondering what happened. There you go.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much. I think there was one summer where I changed all 4 tires because I continued to have nails in my tire. So
Dang.
oh, but those are just good ghost stories, and that's what we're looking for, guys. You know,
Yep.
those stories right there are fan submitted ghost stories. I try to tell them as if they happened to me. I get a lot of people asking me, like, "Are these your stories?" No, but stories always work better if you tell them in first person. I can't go Tony
Yes.
and his friends. So understand that I'm taking your story and putting myself or telling the story as if first person because
Well,
nobody
and
wants
I do
to hear
this.
where that happened to a friend.
Yeah, and I do the same thing whenever it comes to the emails as well. I put like right there at the top, submitted by whoever submits it. I put it right there at the top, and I basically I write the story as if it was in first person. So therefore, like like it's happening to that individual, and like as you're reading it, it just sucks you into it. It just the stories that you get daily in your emails, it's they're awesome. Like I enjoy converting them from how you submit them into us and then putting them in email format. Like I love it. I enjoy it.
Well, and I enjoy just doing the stories. It makes me happy, and it's just fun. Like it's spooky season. Everybody loves Halloween just because it's Halloween. But it's they're just fun stories, man. I mean, they
Oh yeah.
really are.
Oh yeah.
This one this one here is the one that I will leave you guys on because as we are continuing to get deeper and deeper into spooky season and exploring some things. Hey, you ever played with a Ouija board?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah, do they scare you just as much as they scare me? Because they terrify me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do Ouija boards.
Yeah, me neither. Oh no, don't fall. But somebody totally got me a book.
Oh boy.
I know. It's cool.
Yes. Brennan, there's an email list. All you have to do is go to paranormalnightshift.com. That's it. Go to paranormalnightshift.com, and that's how you sign up to be on the email list.
But
And
this is called The Demon Mirror. This story starts after a group of friends have played with a Ouija board in their house. There once was a woman that I knew. Her name was Sarah, and she was obsessed with her appearances. Always. Teenage girl. Just obsessed with the way she looked. She would spend hours a day looking at herself in the mirror. She would sit around, do her makeup, just like most girls do. But one day, Sarah was looking in the mirror when she saw something strange. Her reflection smiled at her, but it wasn't her smile. It was wicked and twisted and something different within her smile. It's often said that mirrors are portals, and sometimes when you mess and meddle with things that you shouldn't meddle with, you open up that portal. Sure, you might have closed the Ouija board session, but whatever came to visit you doesn't have to leave. Now, Sarah was terrified. She looked away, but this smile, this demon smile, it had captivated her. The demon reached out and touched Sarah's face. She could feel its cold hands running down her face. The demon spoke to Sarah in a low, raspy voice. "You're beautiful, Sarah," the demon said, "but you could be even more beautiful if you would just let me help you." Sarah was scared, but she couldn't resist. She couldn't resist the demon. She nodded her head. The demon smiled and reached into the mirror and pulled out a black bottle. "Drink this," the demon said. "It will make you even more beautiful." Sarah took the bottle and she drank the potion. The potion, excuse me, tasted bitter and foul, but Sarah didn't care. She was only interested in becoming more beautiful. As soon as Sarah drank the potion, she felt a change. Her skin became smoother, her eyes became brighter, and her hair became more luxurious. Sarah looked in the mirror and gasped in amazement. She had never felt so beautiful before. "Thank you, Sarah," the demon said. The demon smiled, and Sarah smiled back. "You're welcome. But there is a price for your gift." "What's the price?" Sarah asked. "Your soul," the demon replied. Sarah didn't want to give up her soul, but she was so vain she couldn't resist the temptation to be even more beautiful. So she agreed. The demon smiled and reached and touched Sarah's face again. She again could feel its cold hands running down her face. The demon spoke to Sarah again in a low, raspy voice. "You're mine, Sarah." Great story.
I want to know how it ended.
I want to know how it ended too, but that's all I get.
I want to know how it ended.
I know. I mean, like that there is a fan submitted story. Now, of course, it's probably one that they wanted us to tell, just a cool story. I doubt that it actually happened. You know, there's no backgrounds in that. It's just a fan submitted story. And those are the kind of stories that you'll get on the email list, to where they come from somebody. They're like, "Hey man, this is the ghost story that I've been telling forever." So I love it. I want to know how it ends. I mean, it's cool, but those Ouija boards scare the hell out of me. I'm not even gonna there's something about them that scare me. And this fun little book, Miss Mcgaha Comedy Guide for me, is it's just empty. It's just a fun little journal to write stories. She was like, you can write your stories in them, but I'm like, I don't even really want to mess with this book. It just looks kind of cool, but it still scares me.
Yeah.
It gets,
Like
yeah, it gets to live up on the shelf next to the other scary stuff.
I mean, at least it has its place.
It has its place. But if that book totally starts moving by itself or disappearing and I can't find it, I'm burning the whole house down. I'm letting you know.
But with that being said, we hope y'all enjoyed this live show of Paranormal Night Shift. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, one of the best things you can do to help support the show, the pages, all the things, is just to share it with a friend.
Absolutely.
Just share it with a friend and get more people to tune in and listen to our Wednesday night live shows, as well as get put on the email list at paranormalnightshift.com, and make sure you follow us everywhere. Everywhere. And it's at Paranormal Night Shift. Everywhere.
Well, thank you guys so much again for hanging out with us. If you want to jump on and hang out with our more lighter show, we will be doing our lighter show here in about 20 minutes or so over on Hilarious Humor Highway. Today we're going to do dad jokes, so definitely check out that. But guys, thank you again for all of the follows. Thank you for checking out and bearing with us while we're going through this get you guys transition page to where you guys see everything. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope you enjoy your nightmares.
Ooh. Hey, y'all take it easy.
Bye-bye.